ANC played out in full view of a bench at the Pietermaritzburg High Court. At the centre of the attention is the legitimacy of the 2015 ANC KwaZulu-Natal elective conference. The 5 leaders of ANC branches want the court to nullify the conference along with its resolution, saying the whole process is flawed. However, the current provincial leadership of the ANC maintains they were elected and emerged victorious at the conference. So to talk more, let's cross over to our reporters, Ayanda, Mhlongo and Blain, Herman, who are both at the Pietermaritzburg High Court this morning. Good morning to both of you.
Yeah, very good morning to you, Leanne. Good morning, everybody. Day 2 of this compelling court case right here in the Pietermaritzburg High Court. And, it was a pretty busy day yesterday, inside and outside of court. Outside, we saw boisterous supporters on both sides of this case, stationed about 100 meters away from each other. And seemingly, they took turns marching up and down the stretch of road right here outside the Pietermaritzburg High Court peacefully, I might add. Full-throated singing was heard till late in the afternoon, so definitely spirits were high right here yesterday. Now, inside court, the respondents as well as the applicants via their counsels put forward their case, laid out their case, and somebody that has been following these proceedings inside court very closely is my colleague Ayanda Mhlongo. She joins me now live. Ayanda, thank you very much indeed for your time. Very good morning to you. Just tell us, I understand it was an interesting day inside court, isn't it? What transpired?
Certainly, very interesting day in court yesterday, Blain. As you know, that this is a much anticipated, it was a long-awaited case by both the applicants in this matter, being the 5 branch members that brought this matter to court, as well as the respondents in the case, being the PEC, or the Provincial Executive Committee of KwaZulu-Natal. Interesting points that were made. Firstly, let's start with the case that was laid by the applicants in the matter. Firstly, speaking about the timing of the this court bid. Advocate Tembega Ngwaitobi, the counsel for the applicants, is talking about the fact that the matter was delayed in coming to court, not because of the applicants, but because the applicants had tried to seek avenues within the party to raise their concerns. He's saying that after they'd exhausted all avenues within the party, from the PEC, they'd even written to the Secretary General of the ANC KwaZulu-Natal about the concerns that they had at branch level with the flawed processes that they spoke about leading up to that 2015 elective conference. It even came out in court that even President Jacob Zuma had met with the applicants and had promised that, having heard and listened to their complaints, had promised that he was going to get back to them in 5 days, and that never happened. After they did not get a response from President Jacob Zuma, as we understand from the submissions made by Ngwaitobi, they then even wrote to the SG, and again they did not get a response from the SG, and thus they then had no option but to bring this matter here to court. Of course, also the matter of the conference being held prematurely. He was talking about the fact that the PEC had no authority to call that conference without a third of the branches giving them approval. That approval was not sought by a third of those branches, and therefore the PEC had no authority to call that early conference. So those were the 2 main points, I would say, that were brought by the applicants in the matter. The respondents then, through their counsel, Advocate Greg Harper, they said that the branch had ample time. In fact, he spoke about a 2-month extension where they were able to raise their concerns with the party and their complaints, and even if they were not happy with the responses, they could then appeal those decisions. They claiming that they failed to do that. He's also saying that the 5 branch members cannot represent the members in the ANC. He spoke about over 160 members of the ANC, audited members in the ANC, and that these 5 members cannot represent all those 160 plus 1,000 members of the ANC. And just lastly, adding, of course, Blain, that these 5 branch members, he was saying that the complaints were not from their branches, that they also were not part of the branch executive committees, which should have had the authority to bring a matter such as this to court.
Yeah, so interesting points put to the full bench of judges inside the Pietermaritzburg High Court. We spoke about how things played out outside. What was the mood like inside court among the various sides?
Well, as I've said, Blain, both parties are very eager to see this matter through, the respondents and the applicants. But, what they've said, Blain, and we spoke about this yesterday, was that for both these two sides, they said that they're both members of the ANC. They love the ANC. They are all loyal to the ANC, members in good standing in the ANC, and that this is not enemies. It's not a case of enemies. It's just a matter that they do not agree with in terms of procedures that were followed, and it's only in respect to that elective conference. But inside, we saw both sides shaking hands, greeting one another, even during the breaks. They'd be standing together, laughing and chatting away. So again, just showing that they just here for this matter, but together they still have the ANC's best interests at heart. And also an example, of course, to the supporters out there that they too need to show, their leaders need to be an example to their supporters.
And thank you very much indeed. Ayanda will be following the case very closely today. It's pretty rainy and wet here in Pietermaritzburg. We'll see how that affects the crowds outside as the day progresses. Court starts at about 10 o'clock. That's how we'll wrap things up from the Pietermaritzburg High Court. Let's check out what's happening in your world of sport. Blain.